What up YouTube, Topaz Yates back for another album review. This time it's to that Baby Keem, the Melodic Blue. But before we jump into this album review, first I got to give you context. First I got to give you all of my thoughts leading up to this album so that you can understand where everything is going after listening to it. But if you feel as though you already know everything there is to know about Baby Keem, feel free to fast forward to this point here. Who is Baby Keem? Sadly, he'll be known as Kendrick's little cousin for the foreseeable future. Why? Because that's how he's being presented to us. Many people don't even know who Denzel Washington's son is, even though he's starring in a bunch of blockbusters that you've gone out there and you watched already. The reason being is because he wanted to establish himself as an actor first, put in work to become a dominant force on his own instead of getting just put on because your dad is the biggest actor of one particular generation. And when you go on that direction, you're not in a shadow. You stand and you live and you die based on your own decision makings. This is the reason why Nipsey Hussle said he didn't want to play Snoop Dogg in Straight Outta Compton, even though that would have been miraculous for his career at the time. But I'm not mad at it either way. See, you get on how you get on. And in Baby Keem's trajectory, like, he was closely associated with his cousin Kendrick Lamar from the beginning. So he's just going to run with it all the way. Like when he first started coming on the scene as he was working on the Black Panther album, he also did work on J-Rock's Redemption album, and he did work on Schoolboy Q's Crash Talk. As this album, Melodic Blue, is actually his debut album that's on a major record label, Columbia Records, but he did have two previous mixtapes, and those being The Sound of a Bad Habit and Die for My Chick. To keep it 100 with you, neither of those projects actually impressed me, and this is a great example of what nepotism is. When the people related to somebody actually sees all of the success because they are related to an individual. You see it all the time in sports. You see it all the time in business to a degree. You see it all the time in politics to a degree. But I do feel as though that Kendrick Lamar has done more to push Baby Keem more than any top rapper has pushed another act to this point. And I'm not saying that Baby Keem is a bad rapper. In fact, I think he's kinda talented. It's just he bypassed all of the part where he was going to mold all of that talent into actual skill. Like, pressure makes diamonds. But you made it to this point of the game that many people have been fighting their entire lives to make without that same amount of pressure. So therefore, you don't have the same skill set. But again, he's not bad. He's just not ready for what's about to come his way. But this brings us to the Melodic Blue album review. And my first thoughts after listening to this album is, you know, this is just a subpar Kendrick Lamar album. Just because you're related to him doesn't mean you should sound like him. Like, ultimately, you need to be judged on your own accord and stand on your own so that you will last throughout the test of time, instead of just being remembered as, oh, you remember when Kendrick's cousin came out? Like, he sounded just like him, didn't he? As there are some interesting tracks on this album because he's more of a writer for concepts and things of that nature, more than an actual punchline rapper to a degree. Like, he has a lot of artistic integrity for the things that he continuously tries to put out. He just isn't quite quality enough to do it. But let's go ahead and look at some of these tracks that's off of here that I felt were kind of interesting, like the Trademark USA, where this is one of the two-part tracks where he got a bunch of these tracks where halfway through or 3/4 of the way through, the production just switches all the way up and it becomes somewhat of a different track, but it's still along the same lines. He's doing like part 1, part 2, all within the same thing. And I like that artistic integrity part of this. As this song, I do enjoy the harsh drops and the flow that's going along with it. Like, this is one of the better Kendrick Lamar songs that you'll come across. As the basic concept is taking control. Like, he's saying he's putting trademark the LLCs on everything that he's touching. He's taking control of everything that's around him and the people that's around him to continue to lead to become what he wants to be. Overall, I think that was one of the best songs off this entire project. The next song I want to talk about is that Lost Souls, because this is something that needs to be talked about that's kind of ridiculous in the mainstream industry, you feel me? Like, why is it all of these people, all of these men with money, wealth, and influence, all of these people can get any woman that they want, but yet they always revolve around the same handful of women. And that's exactly what he's touching on for this Lost Souls. Like, he's talking about, oh, these chicks are dope or whatever, but she messes with him. She messes with them. Like, I want somebody that ain't nobody mess with for myself, as you should. Let's be 100 with you. These women that reach that level, that gets into that small circle of all of you dudes, a lot of them be scandalous. A lot of them are out there for themselves. And y'all are just doing it because I guess they have a status or something. I don't know. I just don't get it. It's a lot like how Diddy was just caught on photo messing with Future's baby moms. Like, bruh, do you know all the things that Future has been doing to all of his baby moms? And then he'll come out and he'll diss them, and he's probably gonna diss you some more, Diddy. Like, why would you even do this? This was definitely a cool track, a cool concept, man. I enjoyed it, but not that much to put it on my playlist. The next song I want to talk about is that Scars, where that production got that Black Panther vibe now, don't it? Like, when you listen to those drums, you felt that same exact thing coming off that Black Panther soundtrack to a degree. So you can tell that he was heavily invested in writing and doing a lot for that Black Panther soundtrack. Well, the basic concept of this track is talking about the struggles of life. Like, every decision that he makes just makes things that much more difficult. Every relationship that he's had, from family to women in his lives, all of those were contrary to his life that he was living out there in the streets, and he decided to roll in the streets. So he kind of X'd off a lot of his family for that. And the last song I want to talk about was that 16, where that could be short for track 16. Where the lyrics on this are a bit ambiguous. Like, pretty much when people make ambiguous lyrics, they want you to fill in the blanks of what they're talking about so it'll relate to you, but yet they all talking about something. They just don't want to specifically tell you that. And in this track, it makes a lot of sense that he would do that, because it seems to be something personal. It seems to be about him sending out messages to his woman or something and ruining an entire relationship that his family and everybody involved wanted to see him constantly invested in, but he ultimately just messed that up. Honestly, just based off the production, the flow, and the overall feel of this track, I feel as though it was the best song off of this project. Second would be the Trademark USA. I'm not really huge on any of these songs to the degree that I will put them on my playlist and listen to them consistently. I just feel as though this is overhyped. Super overhyped, because, oh, this is Kendrick Lamar's cousin, so therefore we have to respect it. But you know we can't get up out of here without talking about the bars. See, if Kendrick Lamar is the Hennessy of the rap game, one of the most popular brands out there that people really enjoy for the potency of it, then Baby Keem gotta be Douce. Douce being the copycat of Hennessy that's getting a promotional run by big name rappers like Jay-Z, who pretty much founded it. It's the brand new variation, but the reality is it's just a lesser version with just more hype because of this moment that we're at right now. And as I said, he's not a big punchline rapper per se, he's more of a conceptual writer, but he does have some few moments in there how he's saying, look at all your shows, it's Oprah White. Which is cool because Oprah Winfrey, you know, her whole audience is nothing but white women. And how he says, check the surveillance at the cemetery, I'm dancing on your corpse. Like, that was cool. It was complex, a little too complex and not as potent, but he shows moments where he can become more of a lyrical punchline rapper, but that's not where his strength is. The strengths that he have is basically conceptually. Overall, I'm just not impressed by this. Overall, I'm giving this joint 4 out of 10. Be your own man. Stand on your own. Continue to grind and build your own style up. You feel me? And you'll be fine. But yet, you don't have much time for it now because you're already on in the game.